The storm outside rattled the windows of Redwood Naval Base, but inside the dimly lit hallway of Building 7, Admiral Rebecca Hayes froze mid-step. It was well past midnight, and she had returned unexpectedly after a classified call, but now she stood still, listening. Someone was inside her strategy room. The sound was faint, soft shuffling, something being moved, and then, whispering. Rebecca's instincts sharpened. She placed her hand on the door handle, ready to confront a trespasser. But when she pushed the door open, the sight before her made her breath catch in her throat. There, kneeling on the floor, surrounded by scattered papers and a fallen frame, was a janitor she had seen in passing, Michael Turner, a quiet single father known for keeping to himself. His hands were trembling, and in his arms, clutching his neck with tear-filled eyes, was a tiny girl, his daughter, Emily, no more than 6. And Michael wasn't cleaning. He was secretly teaching his daughter to read, using the Navy's historical charts as makeshift books. Rebecca whispered, stunned, "Michael, what's going on?" Michael froze. His face drained of color. For a moment, he looked like a man who had been caught committing a crime. Michael quickly pulled Emily close, standing up with so much fear in his eyes that Rebecca immediately lowered her tone. I'm sorry, Admiral Hayes," he stammered. "I know I'm not supposed to have family inside restricted rooms. I didn't have a choice." Emily buried her face into her father's chest. Rebecca softened. "Tell me why you're here this late. And why your daughter is with you." It took Michael a long moment, but then the truth came out, slowly, painfully. Michael had been a single dad since his wife, Grace, died 2 years ago in a car crash. Since then, he had been juggling 2 cleaning jobs and raising Emily alone. His sister, who usually watched Emily at night, had fallen sick earlier that evening. He couldn't afford to miss work. He needed every dollar to pay for rent, food, and Emily's school materials. And Emily, he sighed, voice breaking, she struggles in school. She's behind in reading. I'm trying to teach her every chance I get, even if it means bringing her with me. Rebecca looked at the girl, shy and fragile, rubbing her eyes with tiny fists. Michael continued, "She loves Navy history. I didn't think anyone would be here this late. I just needed a quiet place for her to practice." Rebecca felt something inside her chest twist. She expected a violation. Instead, she found a father sacrificing sleep, safety, and his own dignity for his daughter. Rebecca motioned for Michael to sit. Emily, exhausted, curled up on a chair, hugging a chart with ships drawn on it. "What you did is against protocol," Rebecca said honestly, "but I want to understand something. Why didn't you ask for help?" Michael's eyes lowered. "Admiral, with respect, people don't help janitors. Not here. Not anywhere. I've been invisible for years." Those words hit her hard. Because Rebecca knew invisibility too well. She had grown up poor, raised by a mother who worked 3 jobs to support her. She had promised herself she would never forget where she came from, but over the years, ranks, medals, and responsibilities had built walls around her heart. Listening to Michael felt like hearing a younger version of her mother speak through him. Michael continued, "If I lose this job, I lose everything. And Emily loses everything. I can clean floors all night, but I can't clean up life's messes fast enough." His voice cracked. It wasn't weakness, it was exhaustion. Something inside Rebecca shifted. After a long silence, Rebecca sighed and knelt beside Emily. "What's that you're reading, sweetheart?" she asked, gently. Emily lifted the sheet timidly. "A battleship. Dad says one day I can read real books, not just pictures." Rebecca smiled softly. "I think you're already doing great." Michael looked confused. "Admiral, you're not angry." "I'm not," she said. "But I'm not ignoring this either." Michael swallowed hard, prepared for the worst. But instead, Rebecca reached for her phone. "I'm calling someone." Michael tensed. Please don't report me." Rebecca shook her head. "I'm calling Lieutenant Morris from Base Education. I have an idea." The next day, a meeting was held in Rebecca's office. Michael, nervous and sweating, sat beside Emily, who clung to his sleeve. Lieutenant Morris entered with a folder. Rebecca spoke calmly. "Michael, I reviewed your file. You have a perfect work record. You're never late, never absent. You don't ask for anything. And Emily deserves support, not punishment." Michael blinked in confusion. Rebecca continued, "I've arranged for Emily to enter the Navy base's family learning program, free tutoring, supplies, and transportation." Michael covered his mouth in shock. "But, Admiral, we can't afford. It's fully sponsored." Emily gasped. "Daddy, I can learn reading." Rebecca turned to her. "Yes, sweetheart, and more." Then she looked at Michael. "And you're getting a schedule adjustment. No more overnight shifts. No more bringing Emily into buildings she shouldn't be in. We're going to make this work." Tears filled Michael's eyes, something he tried desperately to hide. "I don't know how to thank you," he whispered. "You don't have to," Rebecca replied gently. "But I want something from you." Michael straightened. "Anything. Don't ever think your value is tied to your uniform. You're a father doing his best. And that deserves respect, no matter your job title." Michael bowed his head, overwhelmed. 3 weeks later, Rebecca was walking near the base's community center when she heard a familiar giggle. She turned the corner, and froze again. There was Emily, reading aloud from a real children's book, stumbling but smiling with pride. And beside her, Michael wasn't cleaning. He was sitting with other parents, joining her class, helping her point at words, celebrating every sentence she managed. Rebecca stood quietly, unnoticed. What she saw left her speechless, not because of shock, but because of the transformation. The exhausted janitor was gone. In his place was a proud father with hope in his eyes. And Emily, no longer clinging, no longer hiding, was blooming like a flower finally given sunlight. Life didn't magically become perfect. Michael still struggled financially, Emily still had learning difficulties, and Rebecca still faced the pressures of command, politics, and long hours. But now, they weren't facing their battles alone. Michael learned to speak up and accept support. Emily's reading improved every week, and her confidence soared. Rebecca rediscovered empathy, remembering the reason she joined the Navy, to protect, uplift, and lead. The night she caught him, in the act, had changed all three of them. Sometimes heroes wear medals, sometimes they wear uniforms, and sometimes, they wear janitor overalls and hold a child's hand at midnight, trying to build a better tomorrow with nothing but love. Rebecca realized that night that true rank isn't measured in stars or stripes, but in the courage it takes to keep going when life gives you nothing but struggle. And Michael, he learned that asking for help isn't weakness. It's how new doors open.